When people think about playing Halloween and stepping into the role of Michael Myers, the first thing that comes to mind is pure domination. The Shape, walking through Haddonfield, stalking victims, and creating pressure across the map sounds absolutely terrifying. But after watching gameplay details and breakdowns floating around YouTube, it's pretty clear Myers is not going to be unstoppable. In fact, he may end up being one of the more strategic killers in the ASIM horror game world. So, in this video, I want to focus on the weakness of Michael Myers, and more importantly, how players can work around those weaknesses if they want to master him. One of the biggest weaknesses for Myers is getting stunned too early before fully building up bloodthirst. Every time Myers is stunned, the bloodthirst meter decreases in progress. Myers becomes significantly stronger once that meter is built up, meaning early encounters can actually hurt your momentum if you rush attacks too quickly. If player survivors or NPC civilians stun you before you had time to fully stalk them, you're basically losing pressure and wasting valuable time. The best counter to this is patience. Instead of immediately swinging the moment you spot someone, fully stalk your target whenever possible. Build that bloodthirst meter up first before committing to aggression. And if targets start creating too much distance, don't forget about the shape jump. It allows you to keep the pressure on your victim. Myers may not be the fastest killer at the start, so using mobility smartly is going to separate average players from great ones. Another major weakness is the stalking mechanic itself. Civilians can apparently tell when they are being stalked, which immediately creates a mind game problem for Myers players. The moment civilians realize they're being watched, they'll probably start breaking line of sight, hiding, or grouping up with each other. That can completely ruin your momentum and strategy. The solution here is positioning. Myers players are going to need to take advantage of open areas where civilians have fewer opportunities to hide behind objects or quickly escape Myers' vision. Keep in mind, Myers seem to have a pretty good range for seeing victims and stalking them, so don't feel the need to give chase right away. Open streets, longer sight lines, and areas with limited cover will likely become Myers' best friend. In other words, don't just think about who you're stalking. Think about where you're stalking them. Also, think about hitting that engagement button for me. I appreciate it. Now, let's talk about the beginning stages of the match, because this may honestly be Myers' weakest phase overall. Early game Myers sounds vulnerable. He doesn't immediately start at full power, meaning if the opposing side plays aggressively at the start, Myers could struggle to build momentum. That's why target priority matters. Instead of randomly chasing whoever you see first, focus on high-profile targets that can quickly feed your bloodthirst meter. The faster you power up, the faster Myers transforms into the monster players are expecting him to be. If you waste too much time on difficult chases early on, you could fall behind before the match even really gets going. Myers mains are probably going to need a snowball mentality. Build momentum early, then use that pressure to control the entire map later in the match. And finally, we might have the biggest weakness of all for Michael Myers: guns. Honestly, there's no magic solution here. Guns look like they're going to be a serious problem for Myers. Unlike in melee combat where Myers can overpower civilians, especially once bloodthirst builds up, firearms instantly change the balance. Players using guns can stop your pressure, interrupt your movement, and potentially force you into bad situations. The best advice here is awareness. If you're playing Myers, you need to constantly pay attention to which civilians are armed and what kind of weapons they're carrying. If someone has a melee weapon, Myers can probably challenge them more confidently. But guns, that's a different story. Sometimes the smartest play may actually be disengaging temporarily or repositioning with reality terror. At the end of the day, I think that's what's going to make Myers interesting in Halloween. He doesn't seem like a brainless, rush-down killer. He looks like a killer built around patience, positioning, and momentum. If players can manage his weaknesses correctly, Myers will be that much more enjoyable to play and not feel like Leatherface in TCM when it first released. If players ignore those weaknesses, especially early game pressure and firearms, matches could spiral out of control very quickly. In order to keep a Halloween the game, hit that subscribe button. Welcome to Mr. Unleashed World.